I'm Parikshit Luthra. Here are the headlines we are tracking this evening. Bulls enter deep into uncharted territory as records tumble on Dalal Street. Sensex gains over 1,300 points. Nifty crosses 25,800. All sectoral indices end with gains. Crude oil prices set for a second week of gains. Even as prices hover around $75 a barrel, gold prices hit another record high as the US Fed rate cut boosts sentiment. Setback for SpiceJet. Supreme Court directs the airline to ground and return 3 engines to lessors over non-payment of dues. Quashes the airline's plea, challenging the Delhi High Court order. EdTech company PhysicsWallah is valued at nearly $3 billion after raising $210 million. This is the largest fundraise in the Indian EdTech space in over 2 years since the Byju's fiasco cast a cloud on the sector. Shares of ITD cementation hit the 20% upper circuit. Sources say Adani Group has entered the race to acquire the promoter's 46% stake in the company. Setback for the government. Bombay High Court strikes down the amendment to the IT Act, which allowed the government to identify what it terms fake news on social media through a fact-check unit. Court rules the amendment is unconstitutional and violates fundamental rights. Samsung threatens to dock wages and dismiss protesting workers in Tamil Nadu. Hundreds of workers have been on a strike for the last 12 days, seeking higher wages. Delhi police arrest Ashni Grover's brother-in-law in connection with an alleged fraud case. Deepak Gupta, a former head of procurement at the parent company of Bharat Pay, held for allegedly misappropriating funds. The CEO of Etihad Airways says India's aviation traffic can double to 400 million passengers, defends a demand by Gulf carriers for more access to Indian traffic, citing higher demand. Israeli army carries out strikes in Lebanon's capital Beirut after Hezbollah pounds northern Israel with over 100 rockets. This comes after Israel attacked Hezbollah's communication devices, killing over 50 people, injuring over 3,000. Sri Lanka presidential elections this Saturday. Incumbent Ranil Wickremesinghe, left-leaning Dissanayake and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa are top contenders among 39 candidates in the fray. Hundreds queue up outside Apple stores in Mumbai and Delhi as the iPhone 16 goes on sale. Lines are blurring between quick commerce and e-commerce as Blinkit, Big Basket and Zepto deliver the new iPhone within minutes. Let's start with the market action. Records continue to tumble on Dalal Street as bulls enter deep into uncharted territory. Sensex and Nifty gained 2% this week after a big rally on Friday. Sensex gained over 1,300 points and Nifty gained nearly 400 points to cross the 25,800 mark. All sectoral indices ended in the green, led by financial stocks. In the commodity market, crude oil prices are set for the second straight week of gains, but prices continue to hover around the $75 mark as fears over demand persist. International gold prices have hit a record high of $2,609 per ounce. The 50 basis point rate cut by the US Fed has sparked a fresh wave of safe haven buying. The Supreme Court has ordered SpiceJet to return 3 aircraft engines to lessors within 15 days over non-payment of dues. The Apex Court upheld a High Court order and dismissed the petition from SpiceJet. So how is this order likely to impact the cash-strapped airline? SpiceJet said that 2 engines in question are already grounded and operations remain completely normal and unaffected. SpiceJet also said it is currently in discussions with the aircraft lessor to reach an amicable settlement. However, last month, SpiceJet's lawyer had argued before the Delhi High Court that it only had a fleet of 21 aircraft and the grounding will cause grave losses to the defendant. SpiceJet's lawyer said grounding of 3 engines will mean grounding of 2 aircraft as 1 aircraft needs 2 engines. The order was delivered on the 14th of August. It is important for SpiceJet to maintain a fleet of at least 20 aircraft to continue flying international routes. But according to documents filed by SpiceJet before its 3,000 crore rupee fundraise, the airline said it has a total fleet size of 64 aircraft, out of which 36 are grounded, leaving the airline with 28 aircraft. Onto a CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Etihad Airways CEO says Indian aviation traffic has the potential to double to 400 million passengers per year. Speaking to my colleague Madhiya Mujawar, he said Etihad has no further room to grow in the Indian market beyond the 176 flights per week due to the restricted access to Indian traffic.
it's growing like 30%, right? 30-40% year on year. We are adding a lot of capacity. We have now 11 destinations in India. We have 175, which is 25 flights per day, right? 175 per week. So we now have used all the traffic rights that we have to India. I mean, we can't grow anymore in 2025, but we have no doubt, right? We want to grow more. If you compare to 2022, early 2023, we doubled the capacity in India. We could have 20,000 more in the next 5 years. 30,000. 20 to 30,000.
In the startup space, edtech company PhysicsWallah has raised $210 million at a valuation of $2.8 billion. This is the largest fundraise in the edtech space since 2022 after the Byju's fiasco cast a cloud on the sector. Ritu Singh is here with more on the PhysicsWallah fundraise and its significance.
Well, EdTech unicorn PhysicsWallah has secured $210 million in fresh financing amid what is a very tough funding environment for EdTech companies, especially in the wake of what's happening with Byju's. This Series B round was led by hedge fund Hornbill Capital, with significant participation from Lightspeed Venture Partners alongside existing backers Westbridge and GSV. This round values PhysicsWallah at $2.8 billion, which is a substantial increase from the previous $1.1 billion valuation that it had scored in the last funding round in June of 2022. And this is also the largest fundraise by an Indian edtech in the last 2 years. PhysicsWallah, with this current round, has now raised more than $310 million to date. The current round also includes a secondary transaction of about $35 million, which also saw its founders and employees selling some of their shares. Now, the company will primarily use these funds to make acquisitions to support its future growth plans, with a key focus on consolidation in the education market. It plans to pursue inorganic expansion to enter the competitive K-12 formal education segment as well. Now, currently, the EdTech offers online, offline, as well as hybrid platforms. It caters to more than 4.6 crore students through its 112 plus YouTube channels. 55 lakh of these students are now paying customers. It operates about 180 brick-and-mortar centers and is also establishing tech-enabled offline and hybrid centers across 105 cities in India. Now, the company's co-founder has said in a statement that FY25 is going to be the year of largest absolute EBITDA profitability for the PhysicsWallah group, and this comes after the company reported a steep 91% drop in profits in FY23 because of a surge in expenses, even as its overall revenues rose about 243% over the previous year to 104 crores in FY23. So in what has been very tough times for the edtech sector, here is a mega funding round coming in for PhysicsWallah.
HDFC Bank subsidiary HDB Financial Services is planning to raise fresh issue worth 2,500 crore rupees and an offer for sale from existing and eligible shareholders. The bank board gave in-principle approval to the listing. HDFC Bank holds 94.64% stake in this NBFC. The decision to list comes following Reserve Bank's 2022 order asking NBFC in the upper layer to list. ITD cementation stock hit the 20% upper circuit in trade today. This after CNBC TV18 reported, citing sources, that Adani Group may also be in the race for the 46% promoter stake, along with KEC International and 2 other companies. The Delhi police has arrested Ashni Grover's brother-in-law in connection with an alleged fraud case. Deepak Gupta, a former head of procurement at the parent company of Bharat Pay, held for allegedly misappropriating funds. Danish Anand is here with more.
Well, it looks like legal troubles for Bharat Pay's founder and former director Ashni Grover, his wife and other officials is increasing day by day as the economic offences wing of the Delhi police has arrested an individual named Deepak Gupta on the 19th of September. Well, Deepak Gupta is directly related to Ashni Grover, and last year Bharat Pay had filed a complaint with the Delhi police in which it said that Ashni Grover and other officials were involved in a matter related to misappropriation of company's funds. Well, in the complaint, it has been informed to the Delhi police that Deepak Gupta was a procurement head at Bharat Pay, and during his tenure, he had signed on various documents which were related to payments, and these payments were made to non-existent companies, and as per the complaint, somewhere around 81 crore rupees have been diverted from the company to these bogus firms. Well, earlier in the day, Delhi police had produced Deepak Gupta in the court, and the court has reserved its order, and Delhi police is seeking a 10-day custody of Deepak Gupta, and by Monday or maybe some day next week we'll come to know whether Deepak Gupta's judicial custody will increase or not. But troubles are very much there for Ashwini Grover, as last year he was also summoned by the EOW related to the same matter.
In a landmark judgment, the Bombay High Court has struck down the IT Rules Amendment, which allowed the government to set up a fact-checking unit. The court termed this unit as illegal after hearing a petition filed by comedian Kunal Kamra and others. The mandate of the unit was to fact-check content about the government on online platforms. Ashwant Kumar with more.
Well, a major setback coming in for the centre. The Bombay High Court striking down the legality of IT rules on FCUs or fact-checking units to be specific. The rule in question, Rule 31B5. Under this rule, the government had tried to introduce an FCU or a fact-checking unit that would operate within the government and would fact-check content online with respect to the government. Now, this was opposed on multiple counts by various petitioners before the Bombay High Court. The long and short of what they had sought to argue before the Bombay High Court is that, look, this is nothing but a censorship tool. This will censor content with respect to the government, especially content that is critical of the centre. Now, this is something that the Bombay High Court had dwelt on and gave a split verdict in the month of January of this year, where a two-judge bench had given a 1:1 split verdict. That is the time this issue travelled to a third judge. This third judge today pronounced the verdict. The third judge has very clearly held that this is simply not tenable with the Indian Constitution. This is violative of various fundamental rights. This is disproportionate. This is illegal and therefore merits being struck down. So with that, the Bombay High Court striking down the IT rules on FCU, but it may not be the end of the road. Let's not forget, this is a High Court ruling coming in as far as IT rules are concerned. The centre will have the option and is likely to appeal this verdict before the Apex Court.
All right, more news from Court Corner. The Supreme Court took exception to a comment by a Karnataka High Court judge who referred to a Muslim-dominated part of Bengaluru as Pakistan during a hearing. The five-judge bench called the comment uncalled for and directed the Registrar General of Karnataka High Court to submit a report within 2 days. The court also asked the centre to furnish names of judges who have been recommended twice by the collegium but yet to be approved by the centre. The court has been hearing a contempt plea filed by the Jharkhand government against the centre. The state government alleged that the centre was sitting on a collegium's July recommendation of appointing Justice Rao as Chief Justice of Jharkhand. The Apex Court directed centre to clarify on reasons for the government withholding approval. Earlier today, the Supreme Court's YouTube channel was taken down after it was hacked. The hackers displayed unauthorized content related to a cryptocurrency, XPR, instead of the proceedings from the court. In the statement, the Apex Court said it will be taking down the channel and that services will resume very soon. Hundreds of Apple loyalists lined up outside Mumbai and Delhi's Apple stores as the iPhone 16 hit the shelves today. The new iPhone series was announced on September 10th with an updated design and improved hardware. The doors to the stores opened at 8 a.m. in the morning. In Mumbai's BKC, a huge crowd of people beaming with excitement were waiting outside to get their hands on the new model. Not just Mumbai, Delhi's Saket Apple store was also witnessing a huge queue as people that expended across the mall floor. While hundreds chose to queue up outside Apple stores in Mumbai and Delhi hours earlier for their iPhone 16, was just a click away for many who go to get it delivered to their homes within minutes. That's right, quick commerce companies like Blinkit, Big Basket and others cashed in on the iPhone mania, promising to home deliver the phone within minutes. And this has the lines quite blurred when it comes to the distinction between e-commerce and quick commerce. Shilpa Ranipeta has more.
Well, you know, a Big Basket consumer today, right, ordered an iPhone 16 at 8 a.m. on Big Basket and it got delivered by 8:07. This same consumer last year would have had to wait a day if she had ordered it on Amazon or Flipkart. And this, is the perfect example of how lines are blurring between e-commerce and quick commerce. Now, let's see how each of them stacks up. Now, the biggest advantage that quick commerce obviously has is how quick it is. And that's consumer behavior is changing and the consumer now wants everything in 10 minutes. But e-commerce players currently only offer same-day delivery and that also in just select cities. But it's their presence that is unmatched. Currently, they service nearly 100% of India's PIN codes, while quick commerce has now only just started, sort of expanding into Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets. And Zepto, Blinkit and the likes have been expanding their product range into appliances, into toys, into cosmetics and more. But e-commerce players have a much wider product assortment and they offer much higher discounts and they're also much better equipped to deliver big goods like a TV or a refrigerator to you. But the way quick commerce apps have been ramping up is definitely giving jitters to e-commerce players. Now see, Flipkart for instance, right? It is already testing the model with minutes and it's also ramping up its fulfillment centers. Myntra on the other hand is already testing 4-hour deliveries. Amazon is also looking at a foray and at the same time is also ramping up its storage capacity for faster deliveries. Nykaa for instance is also making its faster deliveries, which is same day and next day deliveries available in 110 cities. And now experts say that, down the line, it's not like one will eat the other up. Both will coexist, where impulse buying will go to quick commerce and planned purchases will continue to stay on e-commerce platforms. But yes, e-commerce players are likely to work on reducing their delivery times to as fast as 30 to 45 minutes. And this festive season, we're likely to see this battle playing out.
Now, even as quick commerce companies take the fight to e-commerce firms, retail industry lobby is up in arms. An industry association has written to the government alleging violation of antitrust rules. The sources say the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade has forwarded the complaint to the Competition Commission of India. We're now joined by Dhairashil Patil, the National President of the All India Consumer Products Distributor Federation. We also have with us Sameer Gandhi, co-founder, Axiom Law Chambers. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. Dhairashil Patil, if I were to ask you first, give us a sense of what has been your complaint to Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and the DPIT, and do you also want to directly approach the CCI as well?
Yes, thank you. See, our complaint to Honorable Minister was that for quick commerce, dark stores are being put up. And this clearly shows that unless and until there is inventory in hand, you cannot deliver in 10 to 15 minutes. So, inventory-based e-commerce is not applicable in India under the FDI rules. So how is that the inventory is being controlled by these quick commerce companies? This is the first thing.
Right. So okay.
Yeah.
But what is the allegation according to which they violate the CCI rules, Mr. Patil?
See, according to e-commerce press note 2, inventory-based e-commerce isn't permitted in India. So, in dark stores, they are carrying inventory and they are controlling inventory. That is the basic complaint what we have given.
Okay, let me also go across to Sameer Gandhi at this point. Sameer, now there is a complaint which has been referred to the Competition Commission of India. Now, as per the rules and regulations, the law of the land, does such a complaint come within the ambit of the CCI? Does the size of these firms, which are small in size, can they actually be investigated by the Competition Commission?
Thanks, Parikshit. And it's an excellent question. I think with the advent of e-commerce more generally and now with quick commerce, I think what has happened is that there has been a tremendous disruption in the way that, consumers are able to access products. I think it's left lots of consumers extraordinarily happy that they are now able to, buy from the convenience of their homes and buy it at competitive prices, so on and so forth. So I think one has to acknowledge that, with e-commerce and now quick commerce, it's really, customer experiences and choices have really benefited tremendously. Having said that, the Competition Commission is empowered to look at whether business practices can impact conditions of competition in the market. Now, I'm conscious of what Mr. Pathak just said, and I'm equally conscious that competition rules are not the catch-all for addressing all sorts of problems, including potentially violation of FDI requirements if there are such violations. The competition rules are very clearly to address either vertical restraints or cartels or abuse of dominance. And there I would think, at least from the little that I know of this sector, that the quick commerce companies are, there is a new one coming up almost every second day. As the earlier piece on your own program seemed to indicate, it's a highly competitive sector. And consumers will probably be, laughing all the way to their stores. So I actually see this as being good for competition. I see this being competition on the merits. I see prices not going up, but actually coming down. So I think this is good for competition more broadly. Can the Commission look into it? I think if it is indeed an abuse of a position of market dominance, which does require a company to be of a certain size and standing in the market, Parikshit, but I think it's too early in the day. I think one has to acknowledge that the innovation that comes from the introduction of e-commerce and quick commerce in India is certainly something that all of us benefit from, and I'm sure that's something that the Competition Commission will keep in mind.
All right. Dharishil Patil, Samir Gandhi, thank you very much for joining us here on the program. Coming up next, meet the next generation at PVR. We catch up with founder Ajay Bijli's children on their strategy to draw audiences to the cinemas. And you can also catch all CNBC TV 18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. Sri Lanka is heading to polls for the first time since an economic crisis roiled the nation 2 years ago, triggered nationwide civilian-led protests and led to the ouster of the Rajapaksa government. Voters in the island nation will be electing their next president from an all-made list of 39 candidates. Incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and Marxist-leaning Disa Naike are the likely frontrunners. Re-releasing films is the latest strategy that PVR Inox hopes will draw more footfalls to the cinemas. The multiplex giant claims that the plan has been a success so far, even as Bollywood's box office fortunes this year look bleak. Shilpa Ranipeta speaks to the children of Ajay Bijli, who are at the centre of PVR Inox's latest bet.
Over the last few months, moviegoers have been flocking to theatres, but not because there was a new big blockbuster movie release, but to watch their favourite old films again. From Sholay Veer Zara to Rockstar, Jab We Met, Laila Majnu and Tumbat, multiplexes like PVR Inox have re-released 47 old hits between April to August.
Re-release festivals and re-releases as a whole is to encourage people to come to our cinemas to enjoy films that they already enjoyed, so playing on a bit of nostalgia, as well as creating that same enthusiasm for a new generation of film enthusiasts. People who haven't seen these films before. There's so many films that I personally would like to see at the big screen that I never got the chance. I was born too late, maybe, for those, right? So definitely going forward, it'll be a big part of our entire strategy.
The idea is to play on nostalgia and bring more people back to screens. And it seems to be working. Occupancy levels have been 30 to 40% for re-releases. For reference, in all of FY24, PVR Inox saw an occupancy of 25.6%. PVR Inox is firm that this is not a stopgap solution to tide over lack of fresh content, but part of a new strategy being put in place by the next generation of the company. PVR founder Ajay Bijli's children, 31-year-old Niharika Bijli and 25-year-old Amar Bijli, have taken on roles of strategy, marketing and innovation as they look to breathe fresh perspective into the 27-year-old company. But working with Dad is not easy.
So there are some things that, like we do not dare touch. That is the way he chooses to run the company. Where our perspective kind of comes in, I think, especially is with understanding what this new consumer wants. And that obviously films, we are reliant on a certain supply of films. So that is something we can never change. It's just how we communicate what those films are, how they are unique offerings to the consumer, and how we package it in a way that they understand.
Right.
So this is something that we both also tried to work on through some recent marketing initiatives, which were a little different and took some convincing also, to do. But
Re-releases are one big part of this strategy, but plans are also underway to redesign the way people experience big screens and get Gen Z excited about what they'd call dank or lit. As the movie goes,
Picture abhi baki hai mere do.
in Mumbai, Shilpa Ranipeta.
I love you.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you.